This issue changes everything. It definitively confirms that the Energon Universe isn't set in the 80s like we thought. What's up everyone, James here, and we return with Duke. Make sure to hit that like button. So this issue is short and straightforward, but the ending is so cool. Let's get into it. So this opens up with Lance Steinberg, aka Clutch, who seems to be on a beach. We're not going to go far in depth into his character, just know he has been a long-standing Joe member who is their master mechanic and ace driver. Comic-wise, he first appeared in the very first issue of Marvel's G.I. Joe, and that's going to be the same case for Rock and Roll and Stalker, who we'll meet later in this issue. That's the really cool thing Joshua Williamson seems to be doing in this series. He's utilizing some of the characters who were in the beginning a part of the origin of Marvel's G.I. Joe, the original comic run, and making them a part of G.I. Joe's origin in Skybound's Energon Universe. Now Clutch scrolls through his smartphone, the first indicator that this is set in the present day, and comes across a news media headline with Duke's picture that says, "American hero wanted for murder, on the run." I was honestly surprised to see this because I thought the government would keep the massacre of the alien conspiracy theorists and murder of Dr. Adele Burkhart hush hush, while behind the scenes, they'd be hunting Duke down. Obviously that isn't the case, now the whole world is aware and is hunting for him. We then discover Clutch isn't on the beach, but atop his trailer that is at his mechanic shop named Manny's Mean Machines. Who then pops up at his doorstep, surprising him, is Duke. Through their conversation, we learn that he and Duke are childhood friends, and as Duke tells him, that's why he knew it would be safe to see him, because the military police are going to be looking into buddies from his army days first. Now Clutch's screams from being surprised by Duke wakes up this woman he spent the night with, whose name is Sherry. He introduces her to Duke, but when he tries to introduce Duke to her, he can't remember her name at all. So she gives him a good smack in the face and storms off. Duke mentions to Clutch he sees that he still has a way with the ladies. Suddenly though, he begins to collapse from his wounds that he endured in the last video. Clutch rushes him to his garage to fix him up. Sometime later, after Duke is fixed up, he explains to Clutch everything that has happened to him since the day he encountered Starscream. Unsurprisingly, we see that not even Clutch believes his story of a jet turning into a giant robot. But make no mistake, he doesn't think Duke's crazy. He does believe he saw something. He inspects the device Burkhart gave Duke before she died. Now initially I assumed it was some type of hard drive that held more of her secret research, but that isn't what this is. When Duke asks Clutch what the device is, Clutch answers it's a LoJack. Now a LoJack is a device designed to track and retrieve stolen cars, but Burkhart designed this one to locate her tech being used anywhere in the world. At that moment, Clutch manages to activate it, and this hologram of Earth pops up with a red marker on it. The marker is located in the western United States. Clutch says to Duke, that's where you need to go. Now stepping away from the issue here for a moment, this could be just a coincidence and may have no connection, but this hologram of Earth does seem similar to the one we saw in Cobra Commander's issue. Now does it really locate her tech, or does it really locate Energon like Cobra Commander's does? That's left to be determined. But what if Cobra Commander was a part of Burkhart's project looking into finding a clean energy source before he joined Cobra Law? We now know he is more than a proficient scientist. So is it really a far-fetched idea that he was a part of the project? Comment below what you think about the theory. From here, the comic gives us a quick glimpse of Destro on his throne. Yeah, I'm calling it a throne because it sounds cool and I love Destro. He receives a notification, and that's all we get of him in this entire issue. Now this could be him receiving a message from someone we'll meet in the next issue, and I'll be making a video on that soon, cause it's awesome. Clutch asks Duke if he plans to reach out to his family like his baby bro, and Duke answers no because it's too dangerous right now. Now if Falcon is in fact Duke's younger brother in this universe, since he's been mentioned twice now, I feel like we'll meet him by the end of this series, whoever it may be. When Clutch suggests going back to General Hawk, Duke refuses because he didn't believe him before and doubts he'll believe him now. Duke then hears some rock music playing in the distance and asks Clutch, do you hear that? Suddenly, Craig McConnell, aka Rock and Roll, appears, yelling, let's make some noise! He unleashes balls to the wall, bullet fire hell on Duke and Clutch, just going full Rambo on them. When it comes to rock and roll, he is the Joe's machine gunner, who is also a surfer who loves rock music. Luckily for Duke and Clutch, they quickly get out of his firing range, but sadly for Clutch, rock and roll blows up his hot rod. Both he and Duke rush into his garage. What's funny is while they're in there, outside, rock and roll says, "Surf's up, bros, come out and catch some waves." Moments later, Clutch and Duke come bursting out of the garage in a Jeep Clutch was working on. Now this Jeep is basically the prototype of what will be the Joe's Vamp Jeep. Vamp stands for Vehicle Assault Multi-Purpose. It's the Joe's signature vehicle. Now Duke and Clutch aren't getting far, because rock and roll has some drones ready for them. This is yet another hint that this is set in the present day, because these are some modern day drones with firepower capabilities. They start blasting away at the Jeep. Clutch comments on how their aim sucks, but Duke quickly deduces they're not trying to hit them. They're trying to lure them into a trap. Because from a distance, Lonzo Williamson, aka Stalker, fires his sniper rifle, taking out one of the Jeep's tires, causing Clutch to crash into a tree and knocking him out in the process. What I love about Stalker is he's the Joe's best recon officer and was the first field leader of the G.I. Joe Strike Force. Fun fact, Larry Hama loosely based him on a soldier he met in Vietnam. Duke takes Clutch's body out of the Jeep and comes face to face with Stalker. Now if you're thinking like I did when I first read this, we're about to get a knockdown, drag out fight between these two, that's not going to happen. Stalker orders Duke to stand down, and Duke refuses, saying, "I don't take orders anymore." He throws a punch, and Stalker dodges and replies, "Let me show you a move an old friend taught me." He hits Duke with an inside crescent kick to the face and puts Duke down. That friend Stalker was referring to is most likely Snake Eyes, since they were good friends in the Marvel G.I. Joe comics. Before Duke can try to recover, Stalker knocks him out. After being taken into custody, Duke and Clutch are transported to this facility. Duke asks Stalker and Rock and Roll where they are, and they answer they've been brought to the pit. Now this is really cool because when it comes to the pit, it's been the code name and the command center for the G.I. Joe team since forever. It's an underground base with 5 levels of reinforced steel, radiation shielded concrete, and alloy armor, able to be sealed separately. We got to see a live action version of it in the G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra film. Now this is where we get definitive confirmation that the Energon Universe is set in the present day. Duke says to Stalker and Rock and Roll, "I thought the pit was decommissioned in the 80s. Stalker replies, "It was. Now we use it as a safe house for high-risk prisoners before they can be transported." After Duke and Clutch are in prison, Duke tells Rock and Roll and Stalker he's aware of their records and reputations, and they respond that they're aware of his as well. Stalker suggests to Duke he trusts the system because being on the run won't help. Duke quickly fires back though, saying that the system didn't trust him. After Stalker and Rock and Roll leave, a voice suddenly comes from the cell next to Duke's, saying, "Fascinating what you are saying. You and I have common goals. You want freedom. I want freedom. Perhaps we can come to an arrangement." This voice is revealed to be the Baroness. That's the end of the video. It's honestly shocking to find out that the Energon Universe is set in the present day, but I'm glad it is. Comment your thoughts below. Make sure to check out my Cobra Commander video right here, or if you want to catch up on everything we've covered so far in the Energon Universe, check out this playlist right here. Other than that, have an awesome day, and always remember, every day, to go beyond. Hey, if you want to join the upper echelons of the Beyonders, where you'll receive an array of member-only benefits, consider becoming a Beyonder Knight by becoming a YouTube channel member, or by joining the Patreon like Patreon members Justin Heverly, Ray Dude, and Drag Logia 5. A massive thank you to you all. Links in the pinned comment below. See you later, Beyonders.